Hey there, my name's Drew Brashler, and in this video, I want to talk to you about your Behringer WING and the 8 AUX channels that you have on it, and what you can actually use these for, and what the downsides are of using this type of channel versus a main channel. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, the Behringer WING is a 48 channel console. Now, by 48 channels, I mean that those channels are mono, stereo, or mid-side processing. So all 48 channels could be stereo or mid-side if you wanted to, or all 48 channels could be mono or any combination of that you want. Now, on the Behringer WING, there are 40 main channels. Now, this is the same for the rack, the compact, and the full-size wing. And so, as we're looking at my wing here, I have channels 1 through 12, 13 through 24, 25 through 36, and then this one says 37 through 40, which gets us here. And then we have these 8 extra AUX channels. Now, an AUX channel has slightly less processing, but that's totally fine because I use these AUX channels for some specific purposes, which don't need all of the extra processing. So let me talk to you about the differences between a main channel and an AUX channel, and then what I actually use these for in my mix. Now, when we look at a main channel, I'm going to go ahead and select my channel 40 here. Now, I have this microphone plugged into my input 1 on my console, and if we go to routing, I have already routed my local 1 to both channel 40 and AUX 1. And so we can go and take a look at these two channels. So when I'm looking at my main channel, we have all of this processing here on the left. So when we go and select our channel and then hit home, we have all these different tabs. So this is my home tab, which is a nice overview. But when we go actually get into all of the specific things that we have adjustments on the preamp page, we have a couple differences between a main channel and an AUX channel. And the main difference is going to be the filtering section right here. So the low cut, the high cut, and the tilt EQ, or if we select in here, we can go to Maxer or the all pass filter. These filters do not exist on the AUX channel. So when we go and select our AUX, it's just not even there. It's not an option. And then if we go back to our main channel, the other big difference here is that our delay is post-fader versus pre. So we still have some delay that we can add, and the amount of delay is still the same as a main channel. So I can go and put in 150 meters or 500 milliseconds of delay on an AUX channel, and I can do the same thing with a main channel. Now, the AUX channel, as long as you have an input like this with being a local, I still have the ability of setting phantom power, gain, trim, balance, invert on the polarity, just like I have with the main channel. Now, if I had this selected into the input of an AUX input, that AUX input doesn't have phantom power because it's just a 1/4 inch TRS. Now, this is only going to be important for those of you on a full size because the rack and the compact both have 24 inputs of combo jacks, which all have phantom power. So just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing down here on our left side of the screen is our gate. We'll notice that the main channel has a full gate section, whereas the AUX channel does not. But the one thing that the AUX channel has that the main channel does not is this combo unit. So this is a combination of the PSE 545 effect and the LA2A effect. So we have not only a gate, but we also have a compressor built into one emulation on this channel. So with the AUX channel, I have this combo, whereas a main channel, I have 2 discrete sections. So I have the gate section, and then I also have the dynamic section for the compressor. Whereas the AUX channel, I do not have that adjustment. One other thing that I want to mention here is on the left-hand side of our main processing for our main channel, we have the ability of going to home and hitting this little gear icon and adjusting the location of our dynamics, our EQ, our gate, our insert point, and we can change these locations just by clicking and dragging. So I can change my compressor to be before my EQ or my compressor to be after my EQ. Whereas for the aux channel, I do not have that adjustment. I am locked into the channel flow of the aux channel. So just keep that in mind. Now, with this dynamic section, we have that PSE 545 and the LA2A compressor. So this is going to be enough compression and gating for most things that you need it for. Remember, an aux channel is not going to be best suited for a main vocal. But an aux channel is going to be really well suited for, say, a laptop presentation or a background music or your laptop for Spotify or your Talkback mic. So for those sources, the PSE 545 and the LA2A is going to be enough processing to get those sounding in a good spot. Now, the next thing that we have down here on the aux channel is that we have a 6-band EQ. Now, the main channel also has a 6-band EQ. So this is the same for both of them, but the main difference between the EQ on the aux channel and the EQ on that main channel is that filtering that we have up here. So we have a dedicated low cut and high cut, whereas the aux channel, if we wanted to use a low cut and a high cut, you would have to go inside of the EQ and then hit settings. And then right here it says low band, and I can actually change this to be a parametric if I want to, or I can change this to a cut. As well as the high band, I can change that also to a cut. And so I can go ahead and turn this on, and then now my low band and high band have become cuts. So now I can go ahead and swipe this wherever I need to across the entire frequency spectrum. Now then you are kind of limited into only having parametric EQs for the rest of the 4 bands. So if you do happen to change your low band and your high band to be a cut, there is not a way to change these to be a shelf. So just keep that in mind. So if you do need to make an EQ adjustment like a shelf, then what I would suggest is, say we have this low cut at 100, and then we were wanting to have a low shelf kind of starting at 400 going down. My suggestion is to take your band 1 and then go down to where you have this low cut set, and then create your cut, and then have this bandwidth of your cue be pretty wide. And you can get a similar sound to a shelf by using a wide bandwidth parametric cut. The next thing that we have with our aux channel versus the main channel is the aux channel only has one insert point, and that is pre-fader, whereas the main channel processing has 2 insert points. So you have the pre-fader insert point and the post-fader insert point. The other thing that we have, as we can see right here, is with the post-fader insert point, we have the ability of having an auto mixer, whereas the aux channels do not have an auto mixer selection. So we're not able to use an aux channel for the auto mixer that's built into the Behringer WING. So just keep that in mind. But then we have our routing and the actual output of the channel, and that is all identical to the rest of the channels on the Behringer WING. So you will notice as we page through these 2 spots, we have the same level of adjustment between these 2. Now, the only difference on the output side of the main channel that we have that the aux channel does not is going to be with the bus sends. Now, I don't know if you guys know this, but on every channel, we have the ability of adjusting a slightly different EQ curve on the bus sends portion of a main channel. So I have my aux 40 selected here, and I have the ability of changing the tap point for my bus send, as well as changing my tap EQ. So I can have a dedicated EQ for this channel for all of the bus sends coming off of this channel, and that's separate from my EQ for my main room. So if I do happen to have this set to after the EQ though, this will be on top of the EQ that we already have applied on the channel itself. So just keep that in mind if you're placing this tap EQ. But we'll notice that the aux channel does not have this option. Now we still have the ability of going in here and selecting our post or our tap, which would be pre-fader, as well as setting this up as a group, just the same way that we have with our main channel. So just keep that in mind. So let me actually get my Talkback mic into this aux channel and actually get this going. Now, if we are using this microphone as a Talkback, there are two dedicated channels that we can select from for our actual Talkback mic. And that would be channel 40 or aux 8. Now, if we want to go select that, you would go to Setup, you would go to Audio, and then right here under Preferences, we have Talkback, and we can either select channel 40 or aux 8. And then we could then route our input to the aux 8 and then have that as our Talkback mic. But in this case, I'm just going to pretend that this is an announcement mic on my aux 1. And so here we have this microphone, and let me go ahead and get this going up here in our ears, and I will turn off my headset mic. Okay, so this is all of the processing that I have on the board. So remember, with my EQ, I have the ability of changing that low band to a cut, a parametric, or shelf. Same thing with the high. So we can go and apply a lot of EQ on this, and we can hear that actually happening in real time. Same thing with the high band. And so we can go ahead and set these in the way that we would want to for this microphone. So if this was an announcement mic, I'd be having a roll off for about 100. I'd be cutting the low end just a little bit like that. And then I'd be cutting around 600 with a Q of about 3. And so there we go. Now let's actually look at the dynamic section of this combo unit. And so with this combo unit, we have the ability of having our PSE, which is a gate or an expander, and then we have our compression. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this all the way up. That way we can hear this background noise. So this might be a little difficult to have coming across on YouTube, but there is some good noise in the background of this mic. And so this is where our PSE comes in really handy. So when we turn this on, we have our threshold that we have here. So we can set this anywhere between -36 and +12 on this. And then we have our depth. Our depth is going to be how much do we want to turn this microphone down when the gate is engaged. So we'll notice that we can hear some noise, everything like that. But as I start dialing this in, that noise is going away. And so now this gate is set to pull down by 20 dB when I stop talking. Now, if there was some more noise that was happening on this microphone, we can then go and adjust this threshold to the point where we are happy with cutting out the background noise. But if we start bringing this up so much, like right here, I'm talking and I'm not actually getting through on this gate. So this is an incorrectly set gate. So just keep that in mind that you can mess up your channel. But with the PSE, which is nice, we can set this to -36 and have a depth of about -12 here on our depth. And this is a very good setting to start out with. Now we also have a fast, and that changes our release time. And 1, 2. 1, 2. We can notice that the fast gives it a lot faster of a clamp down time. Check 1, 2. And then we also have the ability of going between peak and RMS. Now, on the leveling amplifier side, this is an emulation of the LA2A, which is a classic optical compressor. And this compressor is very simple. We have 3 adjustments. We have the ability of going between a compressor or a limiter. And then we have our gain knob, which is our channel makeup gain, which is after compression. This is post-compression. And then we have our peak reduction. So if I was wanting to add some compression to this microphone, what I would do is I'd go grab my peak and I would go ahead and start turning this up until we start getting some compression here. So check 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so now we have the ability of changing between a compression and a limiting. So check 1, 2, check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and a compression. Check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can hear that the limiting just sounds a little bit more compressed than the compression does. And the main difference is that the limiting is going to be at about a 10-to-1 compression ratio, whereas the compression is going to be between a 4 and 3-to-1 compression. And so with our peak reduction, all we have to do is, if we want more compression, turn this up, and then we have more compression happening. If we want less compression, then we turn this down. And then the amount that we have compressed is turning down that channel. And so sometimes we'll have to go ahead and add makeup gain. And the key way of celling on this is if we have a bunch of compression happening like this, and I turn this off, and then all of a sudden this microphone gets a lot louder, and then I turn this on, the goal is to make that the same volume. So we can go ahead and add in some gain to get these more evenly spaced here. So check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, check 1, 2, which is about right. Now, I do need to warn you about the makeup gain. That is the same thing as taking this fader and turning it up. So if you have a channel that is close to feeding back and you add makeup gain here, it is the same thing as you taking your fader and turning it up. So just keep that in mind. And remember that this gain is post compression. So no matter how much gain you add or subtract on this knob, it will not change the level of compression. So just keep that in mind. Now again, the aux channel is going to be perfect for getting Spotify or music from your laptop, anything like that, into your board. This is also going to be a great way of having a laptop presentation or Pro Presenter or different things like that that don't need a ton of channel processing. A lot of the times when I'm using a laptop computer that's a presentation, I'm just leaving the channel pretty much flat unless I need to add in some compression or some EQ for a very poorly mixed video, for instance. But for the most part, when I'm using these aux channels, I'm leaving them flat and I'm just using them to get background music or presentations or an announcement mic into the PA, where I can then save the rest of my 40 main processing channels for actual music inputs where I need all of that processing. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you today. If you do happen to have any questions, or there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on the Wing or really any of the production equipment that's out there, please post that in the comment section down below, as I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that are going to be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com, where I have some digital downloads available for purchase for your Behringer Wing. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.